that specific kind of panic, it's not the fear of public speaking exactly. It's way more granular than that. It's that moment when you've been learning a language for maybe, 6 months. You've got the apps, you've kept your streak alive, you have the vocabulary lists, on your fridge with little magnets. You feel ready.
You feel competent. On paper, at least.
Exactly. But then you step out into the world. You're standing in front of an actual human being, maybe a waiter at a cafe, maybe a colleague on Zoom, and they look at you, waiting, and your brain it flatlines.
Completely. It's the dreaded freeze. It feels like your internal hard drive just crashed and you're just staring at that spinning wheel.
That is the perfect visual.
Yeah.
It's that collision between what you know, your competence, and what you can actually do in real time, the performance.
And then the pressure just wipes the slate clean.
Totally. I think every language learner has a story like that. Ordering a pencil instead of a beer or something.
Oh, absolutely. Or just staring blankly while someone asks a simple question like, how was your day?
Right. And that is exactly what we are trying to solve today. We are doing a deep dive into a really, really practical resource from the PrepWhy blog. It's written by Ines Evora Harrison.
Okay.
And it's titled Conversación en inglés, 12 diálogos para principiantes, which is, English conversation. 12 dialogues for beginners.
Right.
And I have to be honest, when I first saw for beginners, I thought, okay, this might be a bit basic, simple flashcards, maybe. But looking through it, there's something much more substantial here.
I agree completely, because if you look closely at these 12 dialogues, we aren't just seeing words, we're seeing scripts. And I think that's a crucial distinction.
Scripts. Okay, unpack that a bit for us.
Well, think of them as social algorithms. Almost every interaction we have, whether you're buying a coffee or checking into a hospital, follows a predictable, almost mathematical pattern.
A dance.
It's a dance where everyone knows the steps, and if you know the pattern, the script, you don't have to invent the language from scratch every single time you open your mouth.
That is such a relieving way to frame it. It's not about being a poet or an improv artist. It's just about knowing your lines.
Precisely. It lowers the cognitive load. So you aren't thinking about grammar, you're just following the flow. So our mission today is to unpack these 12 scenarios from the source, everything from a casual hello to a high-stress airport check-in.
Let's start where the source starts, and I love this. They actually quote Plato.
A bit heavy for a blog post, maybe?
A little, but it fits perfectly. The beginning is the most important part of the work.
Plato was right, even about English conversation. In linguistics, we talk about framing. The first 3 seconds of a conversation tell the other person everything they need to know.
About who you are, what the tone is going to be.
All of it. If you fumble the greeting, the rest of the interaction just feels shaky.
So let's look at the 2 greeting scripts the article gives us, because they show that contrast between casual and professional so well. First, the informal one, Alice and John.
Right. So Alice says, "Hi, John, how's it going?" And John replies, "Hey, Alice. I'm doing well, thanks. How about you?"
How is it going? I feel like that phrase is so deceptive for learners.
How so?
Well, because grammatically it's a question. It feels like it demands a detailed answer, but it's not really a question, is it?
You've hit on a key point. It's what we call phatic communication. It's basically social grooming.
Right.
When Alice asks, "How is it going?" she doesn't actually want a medical report on John's life. She's just signaling, "I acknowledge you, I am friendly." The correct answer is almost always just good or doing well.
If you actually started listing your problems, you'd break the script. You'd see the other person start to panic.
Exactly. You'd make it weird. It's a handshake, not an interview. Now compare that breezy vibe to the second dialogue, the workplace one. We have Sarah and Mr. Davis.
Yeah, even the names change the temperature, right? Mr. Davis.
It establishes hierarchy immediately. Sarah starts with, "Good morning, Mr. Davis." And here's the little switch. Mr. Davis responds, "Good morning, Sarah. How are you today?"
It's so subtle, but how are you today? Feels much more structured, more rigid than how is it going?
It creates professional distance. It's polite, it's respectful, but it's not intimate. It signals that we're here to work, not to, hang out. And noticing those little switches is what separates a fluent speaker from a beginner.
Okay, so we've established face-to-face greetings. Now let's move to something that I think terrifies people even more. The phone call.
The telephone is the final boss of language learning.
It really is.
You lose all the visual cues, no gestures, no lip reading, nothing. It's just pure audio, and usually with bad reception.
The source gives us a dialogue between Mark and Samantha. Samantha calls Mark. She says, "Hi, Mark, it's Samantha. How are you?" He says he's great, asks how she is, and then bam, she pivots. She says, I just wanted to check in about our meeting tomorrow.
That pivot is the most critical part of a business call script. In English phone etiquette, especially in the US or UK, there's a very short timer on pleasantries. You're expected to state the purpose of the call almost immediately.
That phrase, I just wanted to, it's like a little signal flare, isn't it?
It is. It tells the listener, okay, the social part is over, here comes the business. If you miss that step, if you just keep chatting about the weather for 5 minutes, the person on the other end starts getting anxious.
They're thinking, why are you calling me? What's wrong?
What do you want? Yeah. So the script is essentially greet, return greet, state business. It's an efficiency algorithm.
Now, if starting is hard, stopping is sometimes even harder. I've definitely been trapped in conversations where neither of us knew how to leave without being rude.
The endless loop of, okay, yeah.
Exactly.
You need an exit strategy. The source gives us two really good examples of what linguists call pre-closing signals.
I love that term, pre-closing. It's like firing a warning shot so nobody gets hurt.
That's a great way to put it. You can't just say bye. It's too abrupt. You need to prepare them. So, back to Sarah and Mr. Davis in the office. Sarah doesn't just walk away. She says, it's getting late. I should head home.
So it's getting late isn't really an observation about time.
No, it's code. It translates to, I am about to initiate the goodbye sequence. It gives Mr. Davis a chance to agree and accept the closure before the final goodbye. It lets the conversation land softly.
And on the phone, Mark does something similar. He says, I think that covers everything.
The classic meeting wrap-up, I think that covers everything.
Gotcha.
It signals the transactional part of the call is finished, and now you have permission to say, thanks for calling, bye.
It's amazing how robotic it sounds when we break it down like this, but when you're in it, it feels so natural.
That's the beauty of the script. When everyone knows the rules, the game just flows.
Okay, let's move from social stuff to something essential for, well, survival. Transactional survival, food and shopping.
This is where accuracy really matters. There's a tangible outcome. You want the chicken, not the fish. You want the blue shirt, not the red one. The stakes are physical.
The source takes us to Lorenzo's, a restaurant. The waiter asks for the drink order, and the customer says, and I want to highlight this because it's a huge stumbling block, I'll have a glass of water, please. Not I want, not give me.
This is a massive point. In many languages, using the verb to want is perfectly polite. But in English, if you say, I want the salmon, you can sound like a demanding toddler. It comes across as too direct.
Which is funny because I want is factually correct. You do want it.
But socially, it fails. English speakers use softeners. We use modal verbs like will or would, so I'll have or I'd like creates a sense of politeness. If you want to sound like a native speaker, you pretty much strip I want out of your ordering vocabulary.
So they order their meal, and then we get to the end. The customer needs to pay. And the source points out a regional difference here that can cause some confusion.
The classic Atlantic divide. The source notes that in the UK, you ask for the bill. In the USA, you ask for the check.
Could I have the check, please, versus could I have the bill, please?
And to be clear, if you ask for the bill in New York, they'll understand you. But knowing the specific word for the country you're in just helps you blend in. It signals cultural awareness.
Okay, let's head down the street to a shop. The customer is looking for a T-shirt.
The retail script. This one is almost universal across the English-speaking world.
The shop assistant asks, can I help you? And the customer uses the magic phrase, I'm looking for.
I'm looking for is the Swiss Army knife of shopping. It functions as a directive without being bossy. I'm looking for a T-shirt. I'm looking for a gift. It immediately gives the assistant a clear task.
In this case, a blue T-shirt, medium, price is $20, and then payment. The source keeps it simple. How would you like to pay? By card, please.
It's a simple dance, request, confirm, pay, leave. But I think the anxiety for learners comes from not knowing those specific triggers like I'm looking for.
Right, you start over-explaining, hello, I have a desire for a shirt of the color blue.
Exactly. Instead of just I'm looking for a blue shirt, the script makes you efficient.
Okay, so let's level up. You've got your food, you've got your T-shirt. Now you actually want to make a friend. You want to move beyond the transaction. This brings us to theme 3, the social glue.
The tricky transition from stranger to acquaintance. This where scripts get a little looser, but they're definitely still there. You need a bridge.
And what is the #1 bridge in the English-speaking world? The source is very clear.
It has to be the weather.
It has to be. The source gives us Anna and Tom. Anna opens with, nice weather today, isn't it?
We joke about this, but there's a real sociological reason for it. The weather is the ultimate safe topic. It's a shared reality.
We're both standing in the same sun or the same rain. You can't really disagree with it.
Exactly. It's neutral ground. It's not politics. It's not religion. By commenting on the weather, you are offering a very low-risk bid for connection. You're just dipping a toe in the water.
In the dialogue, Tom agrees. He says, yes, it's sunny and warm. It's perfect for a walk.
And that's the function of the weather script. Tom isn't giving a meteorological report. He doesn't care about the barometric pressure. He's accepting Anna's bid. He's saying, yes, I am open to talking to you.
And from there, they pivot to plans. Anna's going to the park. Tom might go for a hike.
And just like that, they've learned something about each other without any risk. They've moved from strangers to people with weekend plans.
But what if you want to go a little deeper? The weather can only last for so long. The source gives us a second dialogue about hobbies with Emma and Daniel.
This is where we start to see personality emerge. This is getting to know you territory.
Daniel says he likes football and reading. And Emma asks a follow-up question that the source highlights as a key strategy. She asks, what kind of books do you like to read?
Look, what kind of question? That is the engine of conversation. I always tell learners, statements, close conversations. Questions open them. If Daniel just says, I like books, and Emma says, cool, the conversation dies.
It hits a dead end, awkward silence.
Right. But asking what kind invites detail. It invites passion. It hands the microphone back to the other person.
And we get some great detail. Daniel's reading The Hobbit.
A classic choice.
And Emma loves painting. And Vincent van Gogh.
Suddenly, they're not just generic people anymore. He's the fantasy football guy. She's the artistic type. The script has done its job. It's revealed who they are.
And notice how the script ends with a suggestion. Daniel says, maybe I should try painting sometime. And Emma encourages him.
That's a supportive closing. It validates the other person's interest and solidifies the bond. These scripts, weather, and hobbies are the glue that holds relationships together in the early stages.
So we've covered the fun stuff. But life isn't always sunny days and reading Tolkien. Sometimes it's high stakes. This brings us to theme 4, health and travel.
Yeah, these are the scripts where, honestly, the stakes are much higher than just being socially awkward. If you get these wrong, you might not get the medical care you need, or you could miss a flight.
Let's talk about the hospital visit. The dialogue is between a doctor and a patient. The patient says, I have a headache and a sore throat.
Precision is vital here. The source emphasizes learning specific symptoms. In some cultures, it's common to just say, I feel pain or I feel bad. But in Western medicine, that's not very helpful to a doctor.
Right, I feel bad could mean anything from nausea to a broken leg.
Exactly. Saying sore throat triggers a specific medical script in the doctor's mind. It narrows down the possibilities immediately. It's efficient communication.
Then the doctor asks, how long have you had these symptoms? The patient says, for about 2 days. Then the doctor asks about a fever.
Notice the logic there. Symptom, duration, associated symptoms. The doctor is running a diagnostic algorithm. If you, as a learner, know this flow, you can prepare your answers before you even walk in.
The patient confirms the fever. I feel very hot. The doctor checks, gives the diagnosis. You should rest and drink plenty of fluids.
The classic viral infection script. But imagine the relief of a learner understanding exactly what fluids and rest means in that context. It lowers the panic. You know you're not dying.
Speaking of panic, let's talk about the modern temple of stress, the airport.
A place where even native speakers get nervous and forget how to speak.
The dialogue takes place at the check-in desk. Agent and passenger.
Airports are loud, busy, and time-sensitive. This is where scripts basically save your life because the environment is actively working against you.
The agent asks for the passport and ticket. Then the key question. Are you checking any bags today?
Yeah, you have to anticipate that question. If you don't know what checking a bag means versus carry-on, you stall the whole line.
Yeah.
And people in airports are not known for their patience.
The passenger says, yes, I have one suitcase. Then the instruction, please place your suitcase on the scale. Again, pure command script.
Simple, direct commands, no frills.
But here's the part I think is most valuable from the source, the direction finding. The passenger asks, can you tell me where gate 15 is?
And listen to the agent's response. It's a multi-step instruction. After security, turn left and follow the signs to gate 15.
After security, turn left.
Those little prepositions, after, left, follow, they're critical. In a high-anxiety place like an airport, being able to parse that sentence is the difference between making your flight and missing it.
The source mentions that having these questions memorized, like what time does boarding start, reduces the cognitive load.
Absolutely. Think of your brain like a computer with limited RAM. If you are using 90% of your RAM just to form the question, where is the gate? You have no processing power left to actually listen to the answer.
That is such a good way to put it. You're maxing out your CPU.
But if the question is automatic, if it's a script you've memorized, your brain is free to focus entirely on the answer. Turn left. You have the bandwidth to hear the important part.
So we've gone through 12 dialogues. We've greeted Mr. Davis, ordered salmon, bought a T-shirt, navigated airport security. We have the scripts. But
Yeah.
I think we have to address the elephant in the room.
The practice gap.
The source states it explicitly. Practicing speaking is one of the hardest parts of learning English. You can read these dialogues 10 times. You can memorize them. But that doesn't mean you can say them when a real person is staring at you.
Exactly. Reading is passive input. Speaking is active output. It requires muscle memory. Your mouth needs to physically form the sounds. Your brain needs to retrieve the words under pressure. It's the difference between reading a book about tennis and actually stepping onto the court.
And usually don't have anyone to practice with. You can't just walk up to a stranger and say, "Hello, pretend you're a doctor so I can practice describing my sore throat."
Well, you could, but that would lead to a very different kind of script, probably involving security.
True. So the article offers a solution, which is, of course, the platform itself, Reply.
Right. And the value proposition connects directly to everything we've been discussing. They offer one-on-one conversation practice with native tutors.
So why is that better than, say, a language app? We have so many apps.
Because an app is static. An app doesn't mumble. An app doesn't have a bad day. A human tutor allows for role play. You can tell your tutor, hey, I'm traveling next week. Can we act out the airport scenario?
And if you mess up the turn left part, the tutor can stop you.
Immediate feedback. That is the gold standard for learning. They can say, actually, I want the check. It's a bit rude. Try, could I have the check? That correction in the moment is what closes the gap between knowing the script and performing it.
It builds the confidence so that when you face the real check-in agent, you've already had a dress rehearsal.
It's like a flight simulator for conversation. You crash in the simulator so you don't crash the real plane.
That's a perfect analogy. So let's just sort of wrap this all up. We started with the idea that conversation feels unpredictable and scary. But through these 12 dialogues, we've seen it's actually highly structured.
It's architecture. There's a polite way to order food. There's a specific way to describe pain. There's a signal for ending a phone call. These aren't random. They're established social patterns.
And the source reminds us that even native speakers use these scripts. We just don't think about them.
We don't. When I answer the phone, I don't consciously think I must now state the purpose of my call to satisfy the business etiquette algorithm. I just do it.
Yeah.
But for a learner, making that implicit knowledge explicit, bringing it to the surface, that's the key.
So for everyone listening who might be struggling with that freeze moment, remember, you don't have to be a poet. You don't have to invent the language from scratch. You just need to learn the script.
And here's maybe a final thought to mull over. We've talked a lot about following the script perfectly, but I think true fluency, the kind we all aspire to, isn't just about never making a mistake. No, I think true fluency is what happens when the script goes wrong, when the waiter brings you the wrong dish, when the doctor asks a question you didn't prepare for, when the airport gate changes last minute.
That's where the improvisation starts.
It's exactly. Learn the script so you have a solid foundation. But remember, the ultimate goal is to be adaptable enough to handle the moments when life goes off script. That's when the real conversation begins.
That is a great place to leave it. Learn the rules so you know how to handle it when they break. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
A pleasure as always.
See you next time.